Hey guys, it is me, Cool Balls Dude here, and today I'm making a video discussing Junkrat's perks and how I would change them. I feel like 3 out of the 4 need changing in some way, but his perks are pretty alright. I wouldn't say they're the best, but I still think that they need changes, and I think Junkrat definitely got the short end of the stick when it comes to perks. So this video is going to be about what I think about the perks and how I would change them to make them more either engaging or fun to play with and against. But of course, not everything's going to be fun to play against, but this is the best that I could do to make interesting changes to Junkrat to sort of change his kit up a bit, because I think perks should change up the kit a bit, make it a bit different, make the playstyle a little bit different. So these are my ideas on how to change the perks. So the first perk I want to talk about is a Nitro Boost, and I think this is the most well-designed perk that Junkrat has. It's definitely his best perk, as well as it's probably the most fun perk that he has. And I wouldn't make any changes to it. I think it's fine. It's a fun perk. I mainly prefer it on defense. I don't know if other people do, but I mainly prefer it on defense, especially if I'm playing a bit more back. It allows me to close the gap a bit easier. As in offense, I'm mainly flanking. I'll still pick it on offense, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's more useful on the defense, since Junkrat can play a little bit back in defense, while he can't really play a little back on offense. But really, this perk is fine. It is a fine, fun perk. It is a must pick as well. So pick this one. Pick this one. It is much better than the other one. But one change that I would consider adding is buffing the damage slightly. So if you don't know what this perk does, is it halves the damage for like a second and a half for double movement speed to close the gap more effectively. So, what I would do is buff the damage to 350, because the damage right now is 300 when you use it. If you don't use it, it's 600. If you do use it, it's 300. But I would like to make it 350, just because there's been many instances where I would use the Tire and like a Mercy or Lucio, whatever character's 250, it's just left on like 10 health, and I'm just like, I'm just crying because like they're on 10 health. They're on 10 health. My Tire's about to die. So maybe buffing the damage slightly would be a decent change. It's not a necessary change. It's just a change that I would like to see, but it's not necessary. I think it's a fine change, but it doesn't need to happen. But yeah, pick this perk if you want to play Junkrat. It is objectively his funnest perk, best perk. Pick it 9 times out of 10. Not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. Pick this perk. So his next perk is aluminum trap, or aluminium trap, whatever you want to say. But this perk is bad. It is objectively his worst perk, and probably one of the worst perks in the game. And what's funny is Hog's trap perk actually got a damage buff when you pick the perk that increases the throw range. Junkrat's didn't, which is a bit weird. But how I would fix it is, I've got a really fun idea, but I want to go over the boring idea first. And the boring idea is just give him 2 traps. Now, this is the first idea I thought of, but I feel like this would be really bad for the enemy tank, and I don't want to make the life of the enemy tank even worse. So, how I would change it that's not the way. That's one way if they want to take the easy route, like it doesn't take that long to code 2 traps. Another idea was actually a bug before the most recent patch notes yesterday, where if you actually pick Nitro Boost, you would be able to see trapped enemies through walls because they would be detected. This is something that I think traps should do normally. I don't think the perk should do this. I think that's just something that trap should do. But that's another idea you could do. But I have a fun idea. And the idea is making Junkrat's trap into a Roadhog hook. But instead of pulling enemies towards Junkrat, it is actually it just traps them in place like a snare, pretty much. Similar to Squirrel Girl's team-up ability in Marvel Rivals, the ability that's bound to C when she's paired up with Spider-Man is a trap ability. Same with the Acorns as well, just a trap ability that you have to aim, pretty much. I think that would be pretty cool. One thing I would do though is nerf the damage of it, probably down to 50, 70 at max, I would say. It shouldn't be doing 100 if you're doing that, just to prevent you from killing characters pretty easily. You could just keep the damage the same, but I would think to future-proof it, just nerf the damage. 50 minimum, 70 maximum, but you could also increase the damage of the trap, not damage, but the duration of the trap to like an extra second as well, if that's a good idea. Another thing as well about this is it makes trap a skill shot instead of a set and forget ability where you just toss it out. There you go. You get someone, you don't get someone. There you go. It adds more skill to Junkrat as a character. And that's what I think Junkrat needs, is a skillful thing that makes him more skillful to play, which this does. So yeah, pretty much making it like a roto trap. You throw it out there, say you hit the enemy Reinhardt, they're trapped for like 2 seconds, however long Reinhardt gets trapped. Boom. They can still use abilities, it's not a stun. It could be, but I think it would be a bit too strong if it is a stun, because you can't move and you can't do anything pretty much. So I think keeping it as a trap, so like Reinhardt can still put up his shield when trapped, Orisa can still use Fortify when trapped, Zarya can still use Bubble when trapped. I think it's a fun little thing that you can do with Junkrat that actually increases the skill floor with the trap, because like I said, you just throw it out there and just hope someone walks in there. And so like, cool. Yeah, so that's my fun change for Aluminum Trap. I hope it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool ability. If you have any changes on like what you would think, let me know. But like, I don't want to give definitive numbers just because like I can't test this. So giving out definitive numbers is not going to be something I'm going to be doing, because I can't just test this. Alright, so next ability is Frag Cannon. And this ability, or this perk I should say, it's definitely the better of the two major perks, but it still is kind of a little lackluster in the sense that it gets rid of 1 ammo. In my opinion, it doesn't need to do that. It doesn't need to get rid of 1 ammo, and I think you could just be like, oh yeah, we'll revert that. It doesn't take away the ammo. That's it, that's the buff. But this is a buff that buffs the number, or like the value of the speed, projectile speed. So this is definitely a perk that I can see being changed in the future. Same with the trap one, because I'm pretty sure Blizzard said at one point that perks that are just like a number buff will be changed eventually, because they want to have more fun, intuitive perks that actually do something that changes how the character plays. So what I've done for this perk is made it so that it removes the bouncing of the grenade. It explodes on contact on anything. So if you hit a wall, it goes boom. You hit a sign, it goes boom. You hit the enemy, it goes boom, like it already does. And the positives to this is, one, it removes the annoyingness of Junkrat spam, in a sense that the problem with Junkrat spam is the lingering projectiles. His projectiles stay there a little too long, and Blizzard have always been trying to like fix it in a way, but they never really have sorted it out when nerfing Junkrat spam. They always sort of kind of fix it, kind of not fix it. Like they'll do one thing where like, oh, the grenades don't bounce as fast anymore, and then they do this and that, and it's like, cool. But this perk just removes that entirely. Of course, it's still spammable to, like, you can still spam it, it's a projectile, you can spam it. But it removes the cluttering that it can cause when you're spamming a choke point and there's like 5 grenades in the choke point and you're like, oh cool. It prevents Junkrat from being able to spam around corners because he can't bounce grenades off walls. And it rewards Junkrat for hitting his shots, which I think is very good because it rewards skill. And I think that's important, it rewards skill. And because it rewards skill, I got a couple changes as well to the grenade itself. Not only does it explode on impact on anything, it also has a slight damage buff to 130, meaning you can do the combo again. But of course, the combo is exactly 250, so you still have to be pretty precise with your mind to get the combo, but it still allows you to combo because you're removing the spam aspect by allowing Junkrat to hit shots now. But this is something that they don't have to add. It's just something that could be pretty cool in order to make the combo back, bring back the combo, which is, I want it back. But one thing as well is you can also keep the projectile speed, but not at 40%. I would make it at most 20%. I think 20% is the maximum that they could do if they go this route. Of course, they could make the projectile speed even more if they don't buff the damage. But if they do buff the damage, I would say like 15 even would be fine for the damage, for the speed boost with the projectile. And also another thing as well is that Junkrat can rocket jump, but rocket jumping with Junkrat is a bit slow because you have to wait for your grenade to, you know, blow up. So doing this allows Junkrat to rocket jump without having to wait. It gives Junkrat more movement tech as well. And rocket jumping with Junkrat is something you rarely see because there's really no point using it unless you want to save a mine, and even still, you're not going to use it. No Junkrat really rocket jumps with the grenade. So doing this, you can rocket jump and maybe even increase the knockback. You could on the grenade as well. Maybe self knockback, not knockback on enemies, because I think that would be a bit annoying for the enemy. But self knockback could be something that could be increased, similar to Zari's perk that does that as well with her right click. But yeah, frag cannon, yeah, pretty much grenades explode on contact on anything. You could buff the damage to 130 to make the combo work. You can increase the projectile speed to at most 20%, and then of course it allows Junkrat to rocket jump. And then we have the last perk, which is TikTok. And honestly, I'm gonna remove this perk and change it for something else. Because it's useful on defense. I can see its use, but really it just feels like it kind of makes Junkrat a more spam character again. Because it rewards Junkrat from playing defensively and not offensively, and I know a lot of Junkrats like to play offensively. They play dive, assassin-esque Junkrats, and it's fun. And TikTok doesn't do anything for that. So I'm going to make a perk that actually makes it good. Now, of course, I'm going to go over the easy route, and that just give Junkrat like more knockback on mines, or give Junkrat a third mine. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is change it completely, and it's not going to be called TikTok. It's going to be called Explosive Punch. And what it does is it, changes Junkrat's melee to be a, explosive punch. And so when you melee it, the damage will be now 70. 70 isn't the number that I'm going with here because I did the math, and 70 damage from a melee and then a grenade is enough to one-shot Tracer, but not enough to one-shot Widowmaker. It leaves Widowmaker on 5 health. Meaning that if we do end up going back to like 200 health pools or something like that, then this perk is future-proofed. So 70 is the damage I want to keep it at. What it does is when you punch an enemy, it deals 70 damage, it knocks you back, and it knocks the enemy back. And it has the same knockback as mine, or close to it if they don't want to have the exact knockback value. But there's another cool thing as well with this, is meleeing any wall, ground, destructible object, any surface will cause the ability to do something, cause you to be knocked back away from where you punched. Which is cool because it allows you to just melee the floor and then mine, and you still have that one mine instead of having to wait for both your mines to be back off cooldown. You can just punch the ground with your explosive punch, use a mine, and then you still have a mine so you don't have to wait. Which is a problem right now with Junkrat, is just waiting for that mine to come back because it's on 8 seconds. Please nerf it down to 7 seconds, Blizzard. Please. Now there is an idea that I also have that I kind of don't want to have, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, is that maybe make it so it uses mine cooldowns. So for example, if you want to use the melee, it will use a mine cooldown, but that cooldown is hard. So instead of 8 seconds, it's 4 seconds for a wait for your mine. That could be a way to balance it if it's a bit too strong in giving Junkrat good movement, but I would prefer it to be a separate cooldown, maybe 5-6 seconds, in order to balance it, because it needs a cooldown. Like Zen Snap Kick doesn't have a cooldown, but this does need to have a cooldown. But like I said, it could use the mines as a resource, so if you melee and you hit something, it uses one mine as a resource, but it gives you half your cooldown back, so you only have to wait 4 seconds, is a good idea. But it's only an idea that they should add if necessary, because it having its own separate cooldown is fine. And what this does is allows Junkrat to have much better movement, which is something that a lot of Junkrat players like about Junkrat, is the movement. And it also will help him against characters like D.Va, because Junkrat, if Junkrat's getting doped by D.Va, Junkrat can just look at the ground and then punch the D.Va to get away or whatever, instead of having to look at the ground, look at hopefully D.Va doesn't hit the mine, and then get out of there. So yeah, that's like a pretty fun thing, and that's what I want about perks, is that they're fun. They're fun, they're unique, they change the character in a way that makes them fun to play, and I think TikTok doesn't make Junkrat fun to play. He makes him a defensive rat, and I know that's the optimal way to play Junkrat, but I want Junkrat to be fun, not a character you sit in a corner with and hope someone walks into your corner and then you kill him and then like, oh yeah, cool, I win. But those are the ideas that I have with TikTok in order to change it, by removing it and then just making it different by making it a melee. But of course they don't need to do that. They could just find another way to make TikTok work, but right now TikTok is just like, I don't really like this. I'm just gonna pick Frag Cannon because it's more useful. I can kill Pharaoh with it easier. So yeah. So yeah, that's the perks. Those are the 4 perks. I've changed all of them besides one, but even that one I still gave an idea on like what I would change. But those are my ideas on how to fix Junkrat's perks, make them better. Of course, I added a little bit of leeway, just so like, if it is a bit too strong, you can nerf it. If it is a little too weak, you can buff it. But those are my ideas for fixing Junkrat's perks in ways that make Junkrat feel different. And of course, each of them are unique in a way where they change up Junkrat in a playstyle way, where you can either pick Nitro Boost or you can pick Aluminum Trap, and then you're like, do I want to stun the Reinhardt every now and then? Or do I want to get a pretty much a guaranteed kill on the Mercy every now and then? Like that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to not make one perk a must pick, because like TikTok, like it works, but you can also still use frag cannon. It's still a useful perk. It still allows you to do stuff, but TikTok, or explosive punch I should say, adds a unique experience to Junkrat. The reward, like, you can use to not just have to waste your mines, because wasting mines, nobody likes doing that. But those are my ideas. I hope you like those ideas. If you don't, let me know. Let me know what ideas you have for fixing Junkrat's perks. If you like my ideas, that's cool. I appreciate ya. If you don't like the ideas, let me know. And I'll maybe respond. I don't know. But I'm open to criticism on these perks, and if you have any like idea on how to change them. But those are my ideas. I really hope you like this video. This is my first time doing a video like this. Maybe more of these videos will come out. Who knows? I've just been playing a lot of tank recently, so I don't have junk clips, and so I can't make a montage. So I decided to make this, and yeah, I hope it was a good video, and I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys give it a like. Liking the video shows me that you kind of want to see more of these videos, you know? Every other YouTuber says that type of stuff. And also subscribe as well, please. Please, I'm begging, hands and knees. Subscribe if you love Junkrat. Cool balls out.